FAB-Racing.
So Oliver Hall on pole position for the AC40 Rookies. How does it feel?
It feels good because it would be nice to have pole position, and it's just a nice feeling for me.
You've had a strong winter season by the looks of it. How did it go for you?
It went good because, well, I was enjoying a break, and it was really nice because I went to school and I saw my friends, and I'm glad I'm here so I can see my friends and just go and win.
Now you're back racing, obviously pole position, great opportunity for this weekend. What's your target for the races?
Well, I've got somebody that is trying to get the wins, but I don't think he's going to get it, and his name is Finley Bardell.
So do you think you'll be able to take those wins away from Finley?
Yes, definitely.
And for the championship as well, what are you looking to achieve?
I'm looking to achieve getting all the medals and trophies, because that would be very nice.
Perfect. Well, we wish you all the best of luck with it, and good luck.
I'm here with Zach Pennegar. Zach, first round of the season. You've had a couple of laps there out on the bike. How's it feeling?
Good.
And obviously for the rest of the season, you've got to be targeting pushing up the grid now. You've had a season under your belt. So what's it feel like now you're out there? You've got to think you've a little bit more confidence on the bike.
It feels quite good.
And what's the target for you coming the end of this season?
Probably Finley.
And obviously last season, known as Speed Pennegar, really picking up the pace. We saw you, of course, at Red Lodge having a pretty good weekend as well. So you've got to think coming into this one, a little bit more confidence. And so what do you think you can achieve this weekend?
Getting a podium.
Well, hopefully we see you do that. And good luck, round one, round two. It's going to be a good one.
Thanks.
And now out on circuit, we've got the step lower, the rookies, and this one, Oliver Hall's going to be leading it away from first, and the number 3 had a very strong end to the rookie class last season, and he's coming into this one a very confident young man.
Finished last year with a hat-trick of wins at the final round, and going into this one, he's won the first race. He's going to go out there and try and win the second as well. All these riders from 6 to 13 years old riding in this category. It's going to be their first race, their first category they race in their motorcycle racing careers. They're taking their first step into being a professional motorcycle racer. For a lot of these riders, it might even be their first event, and you can tell which ones are having their first event because they will be wearing a high-vis vest as well. So do look out for that one as well. They're all running the same standard Blatter 40cc 2-stroke RM10 motor with a 10mm exhaust restrictor fitted on that one. They can run any chassis as long as they're running that Blatter engine. It always produces great racing because they're always on those same spec bikes. We always see very close racing, apart from yesterday where Oliver Hall completely dominated.
Yeah, and he's been fantastic in the last sort of, as you say, the last few rounds at the end of last season and coming into this one. He's completely switched his mindset into fully focused on winning every single race, and it's been great to see from Oliver. Expect to see that number 3 charge away, and we'll see if he can hold off on Finley Bardell, who will be in second place. Zach Pennegar picked up a debut podium. He lines up in third place, and he was coined Speed Pennegar after we chatted to him last season. And well, you've got to be delighted for Zach. He's really improved, and picking up that podium yesterday, he would have been absolutely buzzing with that one.
Yeah, that's brilliant, and he'll be looking to go out there and do that again. Once you get your first podium, it seems like all the others come straight after, so it will be very possible that we see him picking up more podiums as this weekend and season goes on. So brilliant for him. He starts off the year confident. He starts off this 2021 campaign with a solid result, and that's exactly what these guys are going to be doing. But there's going to be plenty challenging Speed Pennegar for that podium. Of course, Bethany Ashby alongside him on the grid. She's going to be looking to get her first podium as well as a few other riders that got very close yesterday. Of course, Ollie O'Gorman with a solid result yesterday as well.
Yeah, and of course Ollie O'Gorman, a name you might remember from the Fab paddock, and of course now the BSB paddock with Casey O'Gorman, his older brother. And Ollie will be hoping to replicate what we've seen from older O'Gorman. Of course, Casey came back last season. He was here at Lydd, picked up some wins as well. So Ollie starting in 7th place will be hoping to do the same. But lining up on pole position will be Oliver Hall, who did a lap time almost 2 seconds faster than second place Finley Bardell in Friday's qualifying. Zach Pennecar in 3rd, with Bethany Ashby, her best qualifying result involved in Fab, in 4th place. Matthew Thomas in 5th, with Matthew Jennings lining up alongside him in 6th. Ollie O'Gorman does line up on row 4 in 7th place alongside Chloe Gleason in 8th. Rex Austin in 9th, with Jensen Bishop in 10th place. Seth Mason Hayward in 11th, with Annabelle McCarthy in 12th. Taylor Riley in 13th, with Bradley Curtis in 14th, and Aidan Belton rounds out the grid on row 8 in 15th position. And one thing I'd just like to note, Trystan, is it's great to see a lot of young women riding in Fab this season.
Yeah, it's the next generation of girls that are starting their racing careers here, and that's brilliant to see. It's their first step in racing. We've already got a rider down there, and I think that is Speed Pennegar that's gone down on the number 134. That is Zach Speed Pennegar that's gone down. 3rd place on the grid, looking to get another podium. And yeah, that's his dad running over, making sure he can get back started into this race. So a different colour scheme for Speed this year as well. Yeah,
it is. We had to get used to that when we were used to seeing him in a different livery as well. But unfortunately, a little bit of a tumble there. But it's best to do it on the warm-up lap and not when we're green. However, I'm sure Zach will get that one out of his mind very quickly. But we'll get that one going. And so you can see they're all on their warm-up lap, and it's going to be Oliver Hall wanting to take this one, and surely after yesterday's result he's going to be pretty well advantaged to do so.
Yeah, he's in the perfect position. He's on pole position, so he's ready to go. Finley Bardell, though, yesterday put in some solid laps mid-race, just tailed off towards the end. But if he can just get a good start, it was a little bit of a bad start yesterday that sort of let Oliver Hall get away. Of course, Oliver put in consistent laps all race long, and that's what won him the race. But if Finley Bardell can put that together, get onto the back wheel of Oliver Hall, I think he does have a chance at sticking with him for a little bit. If he can just get on the back of Oliver, learn off him for a little bit. He might not be able to stick with him all race long, but he will learn and can come back stronger for the rest of the races later in this season and later this weekend. Of course, a double stacked weekend here at Lydd. Rounds 1 and 2 crammed into an action-packed weekend. Loads of action that we're going to be bringing you, but we're starting off strong with the rookies taking their first step into their motorcycle racing careers, lining up onto the grid, getting ready for their second race of the weekend and their second race of their 2021 championship campaign here at the FAB-Racing Minibike British Championships.
Yep, as Oliver Hall lining up in pole position, just getting some last words of encouragement from his dad, getting ready to send it down to T1. Can he get the launch off the line up against Finley Bardell? Can Finley get a better run off the line? We saw him bog down a little bit, which allowed Speed Pennegar up into second place off the line yesterday, but they get ready to look to the lights to begin their second race of the season and their second race of this round as we get ready to start off the first of the day's racing for the rookies in the AC40 rookie class as they look to the lights. And it's a good start for Finley Bardell. Oliver Hall a little bit slow off the line, and that's going to open the door. Finley takes the lead into turn 1. Good start there from Finley Bardell. Oliver Hall's going to try and come back in immediately going into turn 2, but Finley Bardell, great launch off the line, straight into the lead this one. Oliver Hall's going to have to settle for second place.
A brilliant start there from Finley Bardell. It's almost as if he was listening to us. He got that start that he needed, got himself ahead of Oliver Hall. Oliver just needs to stay calm now. He's got plenty of time to try and get back past Bardell. He knows he's got the pace, so he doesn't need to rush anything, doesn't need to make any mistakes. But of course, for these riders, Oliver Hall only 6 years old, so you wouldn't blame him if he had a bit of a rush to the head, but he is right on the rear wheel of Finley Bardell now as they go down the back straight for the first time of asking down into the infield section. Bardell going really defensive there, just comes out a little bit wide on the exit, but Oliver Hall all over the rear wheel all over his rear wheel, and now these two are starting to get a front 2 breakaway as they lead over the rest of the pack.
Yeah, much better stuff for Finley Bardell today, and he's got that lead over over Oliver Hall off the first lap, and you can see Oliver tucking in down the back straight, already building that technique as he goes into the first chicane. But Finley Bardell, very nice start from the young man, trying to get the move done. Behind, we've got a cracking battle going on between from 9th downwards, from Taylor Riley down to Jensen Bishop, Annabelle McCarthy getting involved in that one as well. But well, with the rookies, you never quite know what you're going to see. And one man that's already made moves is Ollie O'Gorman, up from 7th into 5th already and starting to close in on Bethany Ashby in 4th place.
Yeah, so brilliant stuff from him. He's really putting the hammer down, is Ollie O'Gorman, in this race. Obviously started 7th place on the grid, so he's made his way up to 5th. He wants a podium as well, and it's not far away from him, of course. Zach Speed Pendergast still in that 3rd place on the number 134. He's defending there, but at the front, you can just see how much Finley Bardell is pushing to try and keep Oliver Hall behind him. Oliver all over his rear wheel. Really impressed to see that Oliver isn't rushing things. He isn't panicking. He's just staying onto the rear wheel of Finley. Finley's got a little bit of breathing space now. Not a lot, but just a little bit to go. So there's a 0.7 of a second that Bardell has over Oliver Hall. So a really good ride from Finley. Oliver's going to want to try and close that back in, but we've seen how quick he was yesterday. So it is not over just yet. 2 laps into this AC40 Rookies race. Battles all through this field as well. You can also see Aidan Burton there just defending that 11th place as well.
Yeah, but it's what's great to see with Oliver Hall is at the moment he's taking different lines to Finley Bardell. He's clearly trying to get in the peripheral vision. He's going wider and taking tighter lines into different corners. He's really testing out the circuit, finding where that extra grip is. And in fact, will he find it going down into the infield section? Or Finley just covers off the apex, but Oliver's going to follow him around. But yeah, using different lines, which is great to see from these young riders, already testing out where the grip is as Oliver tucks in behind, tries to find a different route. Is it just a case of he's going to send it down into a corner that Finley's not expecting? Because of course you usually see overtakes into the infield section here, but Oliver testing out that circuit, trying to find out where the grip is and trying to find out Finley's weakest points.
Oliver can just bide his time here. He set the fastest lap of the race on that last lap, closed in the little bit of a gap that Finley had over him. So Oliver, all he needs to do now is just sit back, just have a little bit of a look where Finley is weak, where he's strong, and where he thinks he can make a move stick. It is only about these two out the front as they have a solid 15-second lead over 3rd place Zach Speed Pennegar, who's just defending that 3rd place from the number 8 of Bethany Ashby. Also Ollie O'Gorman in there looking to try and get his first podium in the AC40 Rookies as well. But Oliver Hall doing a brilliant job out the front to just sit behind Finley and just trying to figure out where he can make a move. You can just see as they go into the infield section, Finley Bardell really defensive, wants to make sure that Oliver Hall has no way of getting past, making himself as wide as possible and making sure there is no room for Oliver to come through.
Yeah, and he's trying to close in once again, but behind, it's been a great run so far for Bethany Ashby. She's putting the pressure on Zach Pendergast for that 3rd place, that final step on the podium. Zach is desperately trying to keep her behind, but into the infield section, she's going to go for the move, and she takes the inside line and gets up into 3rd place. Great move there from Beth, and she gets down in the inside, takes the run on the exit of the infield section, up into 3rd place, goes Bethany Ashby. Lovely overtake. Zach now down to 4th place.
Yeah, Speed just got a little bit rattled there. He's just lost a bit of time on the back of Bethany Ashby as well. She's just eked out a little bit of a gap over Speed Pennegar as well. So now Bethany Ashby up into that podium position and just leaving Zach for dead a little bit here. So he just needs to regroup and try and get back onto the rear wheel of the number 8. As we almost saw a change for the lead as well there, but not quite. Still focusing on this battle for 3rd place. Bethany Ashby, Zach Pendergast now got right back onto the rear wheel of Bethany Ashby. So this isn't over just yet.
No, in fact, Speed Pendergast trying to go the long way around the outside of Bethany Ashby. And that's going to give him the run down towards the sweeping bends of turn 5. And he once again, Speed Pendergast taking a wide line in. That's going to give him a different line going into the tighter, very tricky turn 5 and onto the back straight before the infield section. Speed Pendergast once again trying to close in on Bethany Ashby, but Finley Bardell, the 99, still holding off Oliver Hall, but the gap is only 0.2 of a second.
Oh, and a big crash there from Zach Pennegar. That's where he crashed on the warm-up lap as well. Just had a little bit of a bubble, just lost a bit of rear end grip. Gripped again and just threw him off. So really unlucky there from Zach Pennegar, was putting all his eggs into that basket, all really trying to make that move on Bethany Ashby, but just misses out there and just dropped down through the order. So now that battle for third is between Ashby and O'Gorman.
Yeah, but good to see speed back on the bike, which is exactly what I want to see from these young riders. Not letting it get into their heads, but speed back on the bike and back in the race, which is always what we want to see. But going on to 2 laps left to go, Finley Bardell holding off Oliver Hall, the gap 0.2 of a second. But it is ever so close, and there's not too much left, or not too much racing left to go. But Finley Bardell, after starting his second, got the launch off Oliver Hall. Oliver just hasn't quite been able to make that move just yet, so they come up to some lap traffic. Will that be in the favour of Oliver Hall? Looks as though they've just about navigated it all right, but Oliver's still sitting in a pretty position to
and
attack.
That's Oliver into the lead now as well. I think that's for Finley Bardell that's just lost out on the traffic. That is... I think Oliver Hall into the lead. It's hard to tell. They all run the same leathers.
Yeah, but
he's in the lead because he's coming up to some lap traffic now.
Yeah, so move there, use the traffic to his favour, and Oliver Hall now back up into the lead. We've got a lap and a half left to go, and Oliver Hall now back up into the lead this one, which he lost off the line. Finley Bardell dropping down to second place as they come into the infield section with a lap left to go at the end of this one, and Oliver Hall back into exactly where he wanted to be. And I'm sure he had to work for that one a little bit harder than what he was expecting.
Yeah, but he just made the most of that lap traffic as it just unsettled Bardell a little bit, and Hall was just able to carve through. But Bardell not giving up at all. He's really putting the hammer down to try and get that gap down back to the back wheel of Oliver Hall. Bardell giving it absolutely everything on that last lap. It's 0.8 of a second lead that Oliver Hall now has over Finley Bardell, but you can see Finley really pushing through these changes of direction, really trying to get onto the rear wheel of Oliver. It's not over just yet, and he's closing right up into the rear, onto the back end of the circuit, and a brilliant drive out of the hairpin at the top as well as they go down into the right-hander. He's right back on his rear wheel now.
Yeah, this one is not over. Finley Bardell putting the pressure on Oliver Hall. Oliver has got to make sure he takes every apex perfectly. In fact, his eyes are fully focused forward. He's not worried about where Finley Bardell is. He's coming into the infield section for the final time. Just a few corners left to go, and Oliver Hall is looking at picking up his second win on the season as they come around to start the final corner. It looks as though if all goes to plan, Oliver Hall will take it on the line. Finley Bardell will be gutted to have missed out on this one, but up to the line, Oliver Hall taking the win, taking his second win of the season. Finley Bardell in second place. The gap on the line only 0.8 of a second behind. The battle for the podium positions is still going on. Zach Pennegar in third place. Bethany Ashby is in fourth. Matt Thomas in fifth. Ollie O'Gorman dropping down to sixth place, but they're still on circuit, still circulating. This one could still go anywhere. The gap between Zach Pennegar and Bethany Ashby is still very close.
Yeah, and it's all about this battle for third place now. They're quite a bit of a drift back, but they are battling it out for this third place, as it looks as if it is Ollie O'Gorman that's managed to get the better of Bethany Ashby, and is just going to come round the final corner to take that third place away from Bethany Ashby. It's coming up on the timing screens that Zach Pennegar has finished in third, but we saw him crash out of the race earlier on.
Yeah, but however, it is Oliver Hall that takes that win ahead of Finley Bardell. And in fact, Finley on that last lap, the fastest lap of the race, a 1:04.396. So you could see just how hard he was pushing, and that's great to see. These riders, of course, from 6 years old until the final moments, was not willing to give up that win.
No, absolutely. He's just done a little celebratory stoppie and just come off in the pits there, so he'll learn to keep those that front brake under a bit more control next time. But a brilliant way to celebrate. A little bit of a stoppie. Unfortunately, didn't quite go the way planned.
No, he's clearly been watching Charlie Nesbitt, who does that when he finds his way onto the grid. But that is the second race of the season for the AC40 Rookie class. We've got Oliver Hall then on pole position alongside Finley Bardell in second, Zach Pennegar in third with Beth Ashby in fourth, Matthew Thomas and Matthew Jennis in fifth and sixth with Ollie O'Gorman seventh and Chloe Gleeson eighth, Rex Austin ninth and Jensen Bishop 10th with Seth Mason Hayward in 11th, Annabelle McCarthy in 12th, Taylor Riley in 13th and Bradley Curtis 14th, and Aidan Burton rounds out the grid on row 8 in 15th position in a Rookies Championship, I should say, race that has been... Well, it's not just that fight between Oliver Hall and Finley Bardell. we saw a fantastic battle. Bethany Ashby and Zach Pennegar equally battling over the podium last time around. Ollie O'Gorman made a great start from 7th to 4th last race. So it is all about this start. Who can get that launch off the line? It's not an easy thing to do starting on these bikes. It's very easy just to let the nerves get better of you, just perhaps maybe even jump the start or get it a bit bogged down. But what can Oliver Hall do from pole position to start the final round of this first round of the season? And in fact, it's a little bit of a slow start, and it's a good start there from the 3 or the of Zach Pennegar. So Zach up into the lead of this one. The 1-3-4, of Zach Pennegar moves into the lead. Oliver Hall now trying to come back at him, going into the second chicane. He's going to try and go down the inside. In fact, he does. Great move there from Oliver. Takes the tighter line, and Zach now drops into second place. But a great start from Pennegar up into the lead briefly.
Yeah, solid start from Speed Pennegar there to get up into the lead. But it was a beautiful move from Oliver Hall to retain the lead. Didn't panic and did exactly what he needed to do. Now, Finlay Bardell, if he wants a chance at winning this race, he needs to try and get past Zach Pennegar and just try and see if he can close that gap into Oliver Hall further up the front of this race. You can see Zach Pennegar there still holding on to a brilliant second place as Finlay Bardell is just tucked in just behind him. Yeah, as
Speed Pennegar running in second behind the field, all trying to filter into position in this first lap. But Oliver Hall, after reclaiming the lead. Oh, we've got a rider down towards the back end in the second section of the infield, and it looks as though they're back up on their feet, but it's good to see rider down. Just a slight mistake, very easy to do. Of course, these bikes, as you slow them down, it's all about keeping momentum on these bikes, isn't it, Trystan? As soon as you drop off that window of momentum, it's very easy for them just to topple over. Yeah, and I think that's the number 8. That is Bethany Ashby, unfortunately, that went down. The rider we saw battling for the podium earlier on, but now Finlay Bardell has managed to get past Zach Pennegar and has got his sights set on the number 3 of Oliver Hall. So Bardell past Speed Pennegar. Speed now back down to 3rd on the number 134 Minimoto. A new colour scheme for Zach Pennegar this year. Just caught us out a little bit earlier on, but looking really trick out there on track is Zach. And all these riders, loads of riders battling all through the field here. We've got Matthew Thomas, a rookie on the number 128 machine ahead of Bethany Ashby, unfortunately had that issue and rejoined. Chloe Gleason, in 6th place, a new name. Taylor Riley, a new name as well. Annabelle McCarthy, Jensen Bishop, and Ollie O'Gorman down in 10th. Not where we're used to seeing O'Gorman. No, Ollie having a poor start, dropping down a couple of positions to 10th. The man, however, as I say that, Finlay Bardell goes fastest and does a 1:04.779, which is comfortably faster than Oliver Hall's fastest time of 1:05.433. But last time around, Oliver Hall was 2.5 seconds faster than anyone. But Finlay, clearly, now that he's got a little bit of clean air in front of him, has just been able to just put the pressure down a little bit more. Now, this is where we see if Finlay can close in, because last race we saw the same thing. Finlay, on that last lap, he started edging in. He just about missed out on that closing in the final lap. But Finlay, he's not averse to being this 2.5 seconds behind Oliver. He doesn't think it's over. No, absolutely not. I mean, he's put down it's only 2 laps in. They're about 2.5 laps in now, and he's set the fastest lap of the race. He's doing all he can to try and clear, and you can visibly see on circuit that the gap is quite a bit closer now between Oliver Hall and Finlay Bardell. It's definitely not 2 seconds. It's definitely closer than that, so we will have to wait and see what it is as they come across the line. But Zach Speed Pennegar still defending that 3rd place ahead of Matthew Thomas. Bethany Ashby is still in there as well, Chloe Gleason, and he's lost a couple of places here, has Speed Pennegar, so he's just lost out to a battle a little bit further back. Yeah, the gap now between Oliver Hall and Finlay Bardell has dropped from 2.2 down to 0.9. So it shows you that Finlay Bardell is clearly got something lit underneath that bike, and he is sending it towards the back end of Oliver Hall. And in fact, he's right on the rear tyre of him as they go around the back end of the circuit. So the lead is starting to heat up. We've got 5 laps left to go in this one, and Oliver Hall, after looking as though he was going to cruise to victory, has now got Finlay Bardell all over the back of him. And this is going to go right down to the wire, because Finlay, tight in through the apex, is going to run down towards the infield section, and he's got a really good shot at this victory if he can stay on the back of Oliver.
Yeah, of course, Oliver Hall remaining in the rookies from last season. He finished last season with a hat-trick of wins, has a 100% win rate so far this season as well, but it's all down to Finley Bardell, of course, son of Pete Bardell, who used to race over in the CB500s in Thundersport, was always a really entertaining watch as well. Absolutely crazy he was in the CB500s, but now Finley Bardell really closed in onto the leader, Oliver Hall. He is almost completely on his back wheel now. The gap is now down to under half a second, and now he's definitely right on him as Oliver Hall just makes a little bit of a mistake on the change of direction there, just slightly too aggressive on the handlebars there, so not what he would have wanted. But now Finley Bardell right on his rear wheel gets a good drive. He's really strong getting the drive out of the top end.
Yeah, he's really, as you say, very, very strong indeed, and well, he's the only rider at the moment putting in consistent laps in the 104s. He's put the last 3 laps in have been in the 104s. Oliver Hall 105.4 last time around, so it shows you that Finley really started putting the iron on to Oliver Hall. But Oliver, we've seen before, can do this. He can just sit there and he's not off. He's not too flapped by the fact that he'll have someone putting pressure on behind him. He's quite happy just to defend, and he takes the right lines, he takes the right apexes, and well, he's got 3 more laps left to go at the end of this one to hold on and make it a hat trick. And not too many riders last season took a hat-trick of wins. Oliver Hall was one of them, and well, he's going to want to open his account this season by doing the exact same.
Yeah, he's hitting his markers, doing all the right things, like you say, and just trying to keep Finley Bardell behind him. But Finley really strong in the first part of the lap. Oliver Hall a little bit stronger in the second half. So that's going to be really interesting to see how that pans out. Of course, if you want to be strong anywhere, it's going to be in the second half, because you want to be able, because obviously that is where it counts. But Finley Bardell now right on the rear wheel of Oliver Hall. They're just coming up to some lap traffic there. I think that's Aidan Burton that they're just coming around. So is that going to get in the way of either of these riders? And that has just let Oliver Hall eke away a little bit. Finley Bardell just a little bit rattled by the lap traffic there as they head down into the infield section for one more time. They're just coming round into the infield. He has a quick look behind him, does Oliver Hall, looking in all the right places, but just needs to focus on what's in front. But now Finley Bardell right on back onto the rear wheel. Yeah,
even with that going around that lap traffic, and Finley Bardell had to take a wider line. He lost a lot of time, but straight onto the back tyre of Oliver Hall as they go onto the penultimate lap. 2 laps left to go, and it is currently Oliver Hall from Finley Bardell. Zach Pennicart holding on to 3rd place quite comfortably ahead of Matt Thomas, Bethany Ashby and Chloe Gleeson as they fight over 5th and 6th position. The gap between the pair of them on the line was only about 0.4 of a second, but Oliver Hall still holding off Finley Bardell, and you've got to think Finley is going to want to finally break down this wall that Oliver Hall has been building in this last few days. And Oliver holding on to it, you can see, using the inside line. Finley taking a wider line, trying to get a better run into this final section of the lap.
Yeah, and that sets him really up really well for the change of direction. That's Bethany Ashby again on the number 8, unfortunately out and struggling in this one, just trying to get restarted. Really unfortunate there for the number 8 machine. We saw her have a bit of a problem earlier on as well, as Finley Bardell just has a little bit of a moment there, and that has cost him quite a bit of time, and Oliver Hall has just managed to eke that gap out once again.
Yeah, so they take the final lap board. Oliver Hall is currently leading this one from Finley Bardell. Finley Bardell with the fastest lap of the race, a 104.727. This time around it's a little bit slower. It's only a 106 for Finley, so you can see that he's lost a lot of time. It's a half a second gap coming onto this final lap. What can they do as they come around? Oliver Hall, however, with a pretty decent sized advantage. Now Finley looks as though he's struggled over this last lap, and he's dropped back around about a quarter or 3/4 to a second gap over Oliver Hall. So will Oliver Hall be a 3-time race winner to open round 1? Will he take that hat trick that we know that he so richly wants? He is one of the most competitive and driven young riders on the grid. He definitely says there is no one here better than me, and he's going to go out there and put down the laps to show it. And he's about to go. If he can make it through the final few corners, he's coming up to the infield section, and Oliver Hall's just got to do a few more corners to take home his hat trick to open up his account in this AC40 Rookies class. He's got the final 2 corners, and Oliver Hall has had a great race once again, held the lead. He's about to take his win, comes around the final corner, and Oliver Hall, hat-trick of wins here to open round 1 at Lydd. He will be absolutely buzzing. Takes the line. You can see the head bob. He is delighted with that one. Finley Bardell, 2nd place. And Finley, I'm sure, will be very happy. Fastest lap and 2nd position. Apart from the win, you can't ask too much more for that on your debut weekend.
Incredible. Debut weekend in motorcycle racing ever. And to be picking up 3 second places for round 1 for your first ever weekend of racing is an incredible performance from Finley Bardell. He's going to be looking to come back even stronger for round 2. That will be coming up tomorrow, so make sure not to miss that one. Zach Speed Pennegar, it looks like, is going to pick up, and he does pick up the final place on the podium, so another brilliant podium for Zach Pennegar. Really come out this season all guns blazing and showing what he can do. Matthew Thomas is who picks up 4th, Bethany Ashby in 5th, Chloe Gleason in 6th. The number 11 of Jensen Bishop, it looks like he's going to come around in 11th place, in 7th place on the number 11, and he just finishes ahead of the number 46 Ollie O'Gorman and Annabelle McCarthy, rounding out your top 9. But Finley Bardell, fastest lap of the race, Oliver Hall with the win.
Yeah, but it was, as they looked to the lights, it was a good start from Oliver Hall. However, the better start came from 3rd place of Zach Speed Pennegar. He got up past Oliver, a brilliant launch off the line for the 134. However, it didn't take long for Oliver to get the move back on, and unfortunately we had a couple of issues for riders to be expected at this level. Of course, they're all learning the craft, all learning the skills. However, Oliver, well, he had Finley all over him, but took the checkered flag pretty easily. Ended them. Finley just got caught out of a little bit of traffic on the last few laps, and well, that's a hat-trick of wins to open the season for Oliver Hall.